Siomra Beag.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to On Siomra Beag. Welcome back to the tiny room, the digital tiny room, of course, as we are, Benjamin, still pioneers in the field of distance podcasting. Ben, we've been doing it for years.
We have.
This fucking coronavirus is bringing a lot of amateurs out of the woodwork, but we've been at this for a long time.
Getting pretty sick of new podcasts popping up, Michael.
Everyone has a podcast now, Ben. Every son of a bitch, Brad Pitt, presumably has a podcast.
I mean, I hope so. I'd listen.
I'd listen to him. I'd listen to him telling stories about the film Fury.
That'd be good. I'd say he'd be pretty good at telling stories about the film Fury.
It's about tanks, Ben.
Do you know what would be good, Michael? If you had Matthew McConaughey and Brad Pitt do a podcast, it would simultaneously be the most relaxing yet masculine hour of podcast content you could possibly stumble across.
I would call it relaxed emasculation.
Yeah, it has an oddly sexual sound to it, Michael, for some reason.
Yeah,
but
that's
anyway.
what I'd call it. Yeah. Benjamin, shall we do a podcast this week, do you think?
Well, I mean, we're here now, Michael. We may as well.
We may as well, Ben. Ben, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Mick. I've made you a poem. Would you like to hear it?
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music.
Very good. It was the theme music. Benjamin,
Yeah.
we've established a new segment on the podcast.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
We're calling it Michael and Benjamin's Siomra Beag's weekly, what's it called? Weekly Witch Hunt.
Weekly Witch Hunt.
It's the Weekly Witch Hunt, Ben. Who are we targeting this week on the Weekly Witch Hunt?
It's not so much that we did it, Michael. I think the Weekly Witch Hunt, to be made very, very clear, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Weekly Witch Hunt is what we've observed from other people going on a witch hunt. It's not necessarily our witch hunt, but sure, hey, look, we might get involved in the action. This week, Michael, there's been dose amounts of witch hunting.
Yeah. Now, Benjamin, before we go on, people often use witch hunt in a negative context.
Yes.
Because, there weren't witches.
Okay.
So maybe witch hunt, we could be accused perhaps of having a political bias in calling this the weekly witch hunt. Because a witch hunt, using the term witch hunt, kind of implies that the people who are hunted are innocent.
Oh, okay. So, what would you like to call it, Michael? Would you like to call
it? My contention then on the issue is that since this podcast deals with many fantasy and science fiction tropes, most of the time when there are fantasy and science fiction tropes, there are actually witches.
Okay.
And the witch hunters are right.
So it's the weekly actual witch hunt then?
No. So what I'm saying is, Benjamin, we're like Schrodinger's cat of political biases in our title. Okay. If you take it that we're using a real world witch hunt, then we think the people are innocent. But if it's like a Hansel and Gretel witch hunters witch hunt, then the perpetrators are guilty.
And we're keeping the village safe as opposed
to... Yeah. So
okay.
How would you know? How would you know which one we mean?
Well, you'll have to tune in to find out each week, Michael. That's the whole point.
Ben, the only people who would care are 14-year-old American girls anyway. And they don't listen to this podcast.
I look forward to having them in the comment section, Michael. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our weekly witch hunt, where, what do we mean? Who knows? Who knows? So, look, Michael, I'll be honest. I think that we should design some kind of public service announcement for celebrities.
Right. Yeah.
I think it should go something like this.
Okay.
Look.
Yeah.
Just because you have a platform...
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to open your mouth.
Right.
And then what we do is we get them to write that out about 100 times.
Yeah.
Just because you have a platform,
right,
doesn't mean you have to open your mouth.
Right. But Benjamin, what about the people who are using that platform to highlight injustices?
No, just keep your mouth shut.
Just keep your mouth shut.
Just keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut, victims of Harvey Weinstein.
Just keep it shut.
You know what, that Ben? You sound a lot like the people who were against the Me Too movement.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, old hypocrite.
You've done a very good job of highlighting the flaw in my argument, Michael. Well played.
Yes, well
Benjamin. Played.
So who are weekly witch hunting this week? Are we starting with Gina or are we starting with Joss?
Let's start with Joss.
Okay, let's start with Joss.
So this week, the actor who played Cordelia on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, whose name escapes me, Charisma
Carpenter.
There we go. Okay,
yes.
Fair enough. Charisma Carpenter put up a rather long post on the Instagram.
Yes. Is that your biggest issue with it?
No.
Like, keep it pithy, Charisma. Keep it pithy.
Make it snappy. No, she put up a very detailed post on her time filming for both Angel and Buffy. And within that, basically, she was like, look, he's kind of a dick. And he made my life hell for however many seasons. Yeah. And it has, I guess it's reinvigorated the Whedon targeting. Like
the Whedon Weekly Witch Hunt,
because she finished her post with "I stand with Ray Fisher," and famously during the reshoots for Justice League, Michael, Ray Fisher said he had a very difficult time with Joss Whedon.
I mean, Ben, you can summarize the whole thing with a simple: it seems that Joss Whedon might be a bit of a prick.
I would say absolute prick, Michael.
Well, you would say that potentially, but a lot of people aren't coming out against him to say that there's no accusation of impropriety. He hasn't. He's not Harvey Weinstein.
No,
he's not threatening to end people's careers if they don't blow him. He's not threatening violence against people. He's just an unpleasant prick to work with, Ben. And every single one of us in every single department of our lives has, at one time or another, met someone in a work or social environment that they fucking hate working with.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed, and I mean, I'm not defending Joss Whedon because based on a series of tweets, what do we know? What do we really know? But it is interesting to point out that he, even based entirely, even taking one side of the story that we've heard entirely as truth, the worst he's done is being a prick. Okay. And he seems to be a prick to women, to men, to white people, to people of colour.
He's just a bit of a prick.
Yeah, he seems to be a prick to big name actors, to minor actors. He just seems like he's a bit of a prick.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me, Michael.
It wouldn't shock me either, Ben. And essentially what he is a boss who creates a toxic work environment.
I mean, we all know one.
We all know a few, Ben.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Well, Michael, that's an interesting take. The internet probably hasn't taken it with the grain of salt that you have.
Yeah. Well, I'm not taking it with a grain of salt. I fully believe everything Charisma Carpenter has said. I just think that it's not any accusation of doing anything illegal or...
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say the... Sorry, I didn't mean to say the grain of salt was that you didn't believe Charisma Carpenter. I meant to say that it's not, as in it's not Weinstein.
Yeah, it's not Weinstein.
They're not comparable.
It's not systematic sexual abuse. Even the story about... Michelle Trachtenberg has said that they had a rule on set that Joss Whedon wasn't allowed to be alone in a room with Michelle Trachtenberg when she was 15.
Okay.
And on initial reading, that sounds quite dodgy.
Yes, but we have those rules in any environment where children are present.
That's true, Ben. You wouldn't be allowed to be alone in a room with a 15-year-old girl.
Absolutely not.
Nor would I.
Yeah.
In a professional situation.
In any professional situation, that would be a no-no.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean... Yeah, it seems like he's a real prick.
Yeah, I mean, don't have a beer with him, but you know. Look, it's come out now. I'm not sure what spurred it, Michael. Like, I couldn't find a reason that she decided to disclose this now. I think she just really had been sitting with it for a while, maybe, and decided.
Well, Benjamin, funnily enough, this was not a revelation to me because I've been kind of keeping my ear to the ground over the years about... I'm a big Buffy and Angel fan.
No, you, Michael.
I know. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it. I've also read the entire series, Ben, Invincible. It's a comic book series from Image. I don't know if we've ever talked about that on...
I can't believe after 4 years of this podcast, Michael, I still find out new things about you every episode.
It's incredible, isn't it? But Benjamin, I knew this. I knew all of this.
I knew he was a prick.
Okay. I mean, this story about the bullying of Charisma Carpenter for getting pregnant and wanting to raise a family and then her getting written out of the show and getting horrible character arcs, that was all out there. That information has been out there for years.
Okay.
Now, some of the very specific details, like the having a a go at her for getting a tattoo. I don't think that was public knowledge. But having said that, when a lead actor gets a tattoo without speaking to a producer, I think the producer would probably be annoyed.
It's a bit tricky for continuity.
Yeah.
If it's in a revealed place.
Yeah. Anyway, look, let's move on to the other one, which has kind of overshadowed that announcement.
Yeah, so I guess where my little PSA joke, if you will, came from was more to do with the second story as opposed to the first one, Michael. Gina Carano has been let go by Disney and by her talent agency. She's been dropped by both. And initially, Michael, I thought this was the very long fallout from her original set of tweets about anti-masking and, you know, freedom of movement and things like this. And I thought it had been a very long, played out response to those initial tweets that caused some controversy way back in the summer at the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. This is in relation to some new tweets that she released, whereupon she compared anti-maskers and arguably conspiracy theorists to Jews in the Holocaust. She said that their treatment was similar.
I don't think that's what she said.
It absolutely is. I'll get it for you now.
Yeah, all right. Do you want to read it?
Okay. This is going to have to be edited out because I have to type all this in.
No, this is vital. This is vital, interesting podcast banter. This is the type of podcast banter that people tune into. People disagreeing about what a celebrity meant on their tweet.
Dun, 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 dun. Where's the new one?
Yeah. Oh, you've lost it, Ben.
Oh, no, here it is. Here it is.
You're going to read it. You're going to read it. You're going to read a controversial tweet for us.
Here it is. Wait. Oh, this is taking ages. So much loading.
Oh, yeah. So much loading, Ben. I mean, before you even read it, I just think the celebrities should just get off Twitter.
That's what I mean. just
get off
a platform.
Just get off Twitter.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
In early November, I have a little timeline of tweets here, Michael.
No, I don't want that, Ben. We're only talking about the latest one.
Okay, in that case, she shared on her story.
Yeah.
Here we go. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by their children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views?
Yes.
And then
so she's not saying anti-maskers are being treated like Jews. She's saying it's an example of how a society can turn on itself.
Yes, fair enough.
No, I mean I don't agree with her.
No.
I think the mistake she has made is, like, don't compare a political disagreement to the Holocaust.
Yeah, well, that's Internet 101 a lot of the time in troll forums.
Yeah, well,
I suppose.
I mean, it's funnily enough that you say that, Ben. What I think a lot of Americans need is Internet 101. They really should be learning this shit in school because their entire culture is kind of revolving around fighting with each other on the internet these days, and it's a bit ridiculous.
I haven't read about it a little bit, Michael. You know, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I mean, Disney is obviously never going to associate themselves with a very strong right-wing kind of comment or anything like that. It's just not in the brand image for them.
Right, go on. But isn't she saying that the Nazis were the baddies?
Oh, she's absolutely saying that the Nazis were the baddies. But I think it's just the political. It's kind of the second strike strategy as well, I think.
Right.
Because of her original kind of anti-mask stuff during the summer. And I think Disney worked through that by being like, hey, can you not?
Yeah, we have a show that we wanted you to be in, you fucking lunatic.
You literally have your own show.
Get off of Twitter. Get off Twitter. Just get off Twitter.
Just
get off Twitter.
And they're like, it's not that you can't hold these views. Just don't go blasting them around town.
Yeah, just get off Twitter. Having said that, it does appear that she's not allowed to hold that views because she's now cancelled.
Yes, she's been severely cancelled.
I mean, Ben, it's very interesting for us as outsiders to this whole situation. It's American Culture War Part 4, basically.
Yeah.
And it's really, it's amping up now. It's kind of ridiculous. Look, Ben, I've been watching a lot of the show Letterkenny.
Yeah.
And that's about Canadians, Ben, and they don't care about this kind of shit.
Nope.
That doesn't bother them in the slightest.
Nope.
And as they would say in that, they would just say, hey, America, figure it out.
Yeah.
So I think it's just time for America to figure it out.
It just seems to happen all the time at the minute, Michael. I think it's a very sweeping end to her career. Like, just one broad thing. And I have to admit, having read the tweet now, I think it's a bit harsh. I don't know if we need to end her entire career, do we?
Yeah, I mean...
Like, drop by the agency and the...
Well, I mean,
Disney?
she's clear... I think, Ben, do you want my hot take on it, Ben?
Go on, give me your spicy hot take.
She's a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, no,
she is an enormous dumbass because A, she's anti-mask, probably anti-vac, and she believes that the shutting down of right ideology in the US is comparable to the beginning of how the Holocaust was able to be perpetrated. But her opponents on the other side use the same imagery all the time.
Yeah.
And they refer to people on the right, not the far right, but the right, as also Nazis. So, I mean, it's an American thing. It's both sides of it using the same argument against each other and then arguing about who gets to use the argument.
Yeah.
It's like, figure it out, America, figure it out. But, I mean, personally, she's a dumbass. She has made a really over-the-top fucking Holocaust comparison to people disagreeing with her stupid opinions. But does that mean that she deserves to have her entire career and livelihood ruined? I don't know. Figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the argument that, if you're in that position, you can lose your job at any point for certain behaviour. So I don't know.
Funnily enough, Ben, have you seen the news on the reboot of Sex and the City? Sex and the City's getting a continuation.
Is it is it full male cast this time?
No, it's a continuation, not a reboot. Sorry,
okay,
it's
a continuation. Okay,
it's a continuation.
So
it's a series.
Carrie's coming back.
All of them are coming back except Kim Cattrall.
Why is that now?
Kim Cattrall has been portrayed as kind of being a bit of a bitch because she doesn't want to come back, but Kim Cattrall has lashed out against her mistreatment by Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but Sarah Jessica Parker hasn't been cancelled yet, funnily enough.
No, because she's Carrie from Sex and the City.
Yeah, so will she be cancelled in 10 years? Maybe. Maybe in 10 years Kim Cattrall's going to reveal all the things that went on. And then we'll get Sarah Jessica Parker cancelled too.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I would argue that Kim Cattrall is probably making the right decision in not coming back to a show that's really slightly past its prime at this point. I don't know if it would land in the same tone.
Isn't Sarah Jessica Parker married to noted murderer Matthew Broderick?
Yeah, she is married to noted murderer Matthew Broderick. And has been essential in his cover-up of the noted murder.
The murder he did in Northern Ireland.
In trying to scrub his career clean of so noted murderer Matthew Broderick turns out...
Manslaughterist?
No. It turns out noted manslaughterist Matthew Broderick's wife might not be the best.
Yeah, might not be a great egg. Anyway, Benjamin, let's move on to warmer climes.
Ladies and gentlemen, do send in your weekly witch hunts to us from now on, because that was quite a fun segment where both of us got to,
20 minutes, Ben.
Work through some stuff.
Dealing with dumbasses. America, figure it out.
America, figure it out. That's the end of that week's section on that. From one bit of Mandalorian news, Michael, one bit of new Star Wars verse news to another bit of more positive news. Mr. Pedro Pascal has been cast in The Last of Us television series as Joel.
Yes, I've never played it. I don't know if that's good casting or not, but good on him. He's in everything now.
It's very solid casting, Michael.
Oh, good. Okay.
Very solid casting. Having played the game just a little bit, he does match the character rather well.
How does he have time?
I don't. That's my question, right?
What's he up to?
The man fucking works.
He doesn't have time to be sending any inflammatory tweets.
Because, so he started out, I suppose Pedro Pascal's big break was Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
And then, he got himself onto Narcos.
Oh, is that the progression?
Yeah, so Narcos was the next step.
Right.
And then he was in a couple
now.
Of movies there, here and there. Then he got The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Then he got Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he's got The Last of Us, which is another big series.
Yeah, so it's actually illegal to make a show without Pedro Pascal now.
Ah, that explains it.
Yeah,
that explains a lot.
He's a real Pedro Pascalwag.
You had to get it in there. Good man. That was very good. So,
thank you.
In that regard, like he does seem to be in it, but he works non-stop. He's also a Fendi model, Michael. He works with Fendi, the big fashion brand. Where does he get the time, Michael?
He must be able to handle a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but you know what? He also comes out golden, Michael. The press loves him. So there was a story just published in, I'm not sure it was. Hang on, let me find that for you. I think it was GQ, but it could be wrong. It could be Vogue. And it's about his sister, Lux Pascal, who is transgender.
Oh.
And in this particular article, she sings her brother's praises because without his money, he couldn't have, or without him supporting her surgeries, she couldn't have transitioned the way that she wanted to. So, of course, the internet has gone, oh my God, what a saint.
What a good egg.
He's a good egg.
Until it turns out he's a real prick.
Until it turns out that he married Matthew Broderick to help him to cover up the noted manslaughter.
Yeah, Benjamin. He's just he must handle stress very well. He must keep it all inside. He must have no problem with pressure.
What's this in reference? I don't understand what's happening.
It's a little joke for you there. You try and figure it out, and we'll come back to it.
Pascal pressure. Oh, is that a unit of measurement, Pascal?
There you go. You've got it.
Unit of measurement, Pascals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you see good. What I've been doing. It was a little science joke. For
Are Pascal's units of pressure? Is that what they are?
They are, Ben. Yeah, that's
good.
it. Yeah. You see what I've done?
I'm glad I got it, Michael. I would have felt like a real dumbass if I didn't get it.
It was a bit laborious, but we got there in the end.
I'm sorry, Michael. I should have gotten it.
Fine.
I'm not a scientist, you see.
No.
And I don't often measure. I measure pressure in crying sessions and empty bottles of whiskey.
And isobars.
I don't actually measure them in pascals, but I will from now on.
Yeah, kilopascals. Benjamin,
go on.
Did you see the picture of the Joker, the new Joker?
What's that? It's awful.
He's new. He's had his tattoos removed or painted over. He's got long hair now.
Oh, he looked so silly, Michael. He looked like a Marilyn Manson cosplayer.
Oh, he's cancelled too.
No, he's well cancelled.
Yeah, get rid of him.
Oh, that wasn't good. Oh, Witchhunt just keeps going.
Weekly Witchhunt, keep coming, keep cancelling.
I think we can just make our own podcast on this, Michael.
Michael and Benjamin's Weekly Witchhunt.
Yeah.
Michael and Benjamin get confused about tweets. Benjamin, look, I don't care for it, to be honest.
I don't care for Jared Leto's Joker in any form. Michael, I don't think he did. I don't care for Jared Leto.
Oh, cancel him.
I think he just... Look, anytime someone goes on about method acting, that's fine. If you're sending used condoms and dead mice to your co-stars, get fucked. Like,
yeah. I don't know, Ben. I don't know. That might be apocryphal. We'll find that'll come out in 10 years how much he should be cancelled.
I'd say there's probably a bit of cancelling waiting for him in the future, Michael. I hazard a guess.
The official trailer, Ben. The official trailer for the Snyder Cut is due to drop any minute now while we're recording this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It might be. It's probably airing now. We might have to record an extra segment at the end.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Let's move on then.
Good to know. Space. So moving on from there, Michael. Nobody being cancelled, Michael. Bloody the best television show on television.
Yeah.
WandaVision.
Yes, Benjamin. Well, let's call this new segment The Audacity.
The Audacity, Michael.
The sheer audacity of this program.
The chutzpah.
The chutzpah. Ben, let me just jump straight into it, right? WandaVision. Pietro is there. He's Quicksilver. And he's like, what happened to your face? What happened to your accent? I know I was dead, and now I'm a different person. Bullshit. Fucking the audacity, Ben, of this program.
Yeah, he's fully self-aware within the world of WandaVision.
Yeah.
He's
Where'd
just
you make those kids come from?
He's so meta as well. That's what I mean. He references the show change. He's like, how'd you do that? Where were you hiding?
Yeah.
Where were they? Huh?
Did you notice, Ben, that this episode was the least sitcom-y episode?
Yeah, there are a lot more breaks in reality, almost consistent breaks from reality. Well, now you have the wonderful tension between Wanda and Vision is playing along because he knows if he doesn't, it's going to, it's going to change, and he might get mind wiped a little bit or something like that. Like the very telling scene done with a subtle sophistication, Michael, where she says, "I can't believe you wore this," and he goes, "Well, there are no other clothes in my wardrobe."
Yeah, it's like you don't wear clothes from the wardrobe, Vision, you dumbass. You magic your clothes.
Yeah, and very interesting, Michael. Very interesting.
Yeah. The audacity, Ben. The audacity. But what I wanted to talk about this week was the fact that the audacity of it. Everything on this show, Ben. If you remember, Ben, years ago when this was first announced, we said, wouldn't it be funny if it was just a sitcom? Like if they just did it as a sitcom. 20-minute sitcom episodes. And then guess what, Ben?
Boy, oh boy.
They did. They did that. Then we found out Evan Peters was cast in it, and we said, wouldn't it be funny if he was Quicksilver? But, they would never do that. That would be too audacious. And then guess what, Ben? They did. They did exactly that. Then, a few weeks ago, Ben, we were talking about which decades we were represented. And we said, what about the kind of early 2000s? What will that be? And we kind of had a conversation about how the popular shows were the likes of Seinfeld and Friends, but they don't fit, Ben, because they're not family sitcoms. They're not. And the only really family sitcom from that period was Malcolm in the Middle.
Now, Michael, this is where the audacity for me just went off the charts.
Go on.
Because I didn't expect it, and yet from the opening scene where the young fella talks to the camera, I went, oh my fucking God, it's Malcolm in the Middle.
They've just done Malcolm in the Middle, Ben. The audacity.
And the perfect sense of it at the same time, Michael. Like, it fits so well with the rest of the show's progression. Like, the twins are slowly becoming self-aware. Pietro is the schlubby uncle. In this case, he's the Francis.
He's Francis.
He's Francis, the schlubby brother. He's Francis.
Yeah, and bloody Evan Peters even looks like that guy who turned out to be no use.
Bananas, Michael. Like, it fits. The writing, the thought, Ben, Michael, the detail.
The thought and the detail. But the other thing is people are losing their mind over how what Darcy is saying and what Jimmy Woo are saying is what we're saying. So it's like, oh my God, she recast Pietro, and oh look, and Ben, they wrote this 2 years ago.
No.
We've been brainwashed, Ben. They've brainwashed us because they're not responding to what the they wrote this years ago, Ben.
Oh, that's amazing, Michael.
They're not watching the fan theories on Reddit, and every fan fucking theory that has come up on this, these writers predicted that and steered the show in that direction and had the characters in the show when they were writing it years ago say the exact same shit that two idiots on a podcast are saying. How did they know we'd say this? It's the most... They should have just called it Marvel Fan Service, the show.
It's amazing. I think, we had a little...
The audacity!
The audacity. We had a little chat, Michael, because obviously, spoilers for WandaVision, if you haven't seen it, very quickly, episode 6. She expands the field, Michael, at the end to save Vision. And
well, maybe not to save him, Ben.
Well, to keep Vision contained, perhaps.
To recapture.
To recapture Vision. And Sword, becomes no more. All we've got is that dickhead director, who's up to no good, Michael. We found out from Darcy.
He's no good.
I don't think he's Mephisto. I'm gonna take that back now. I don't think it's Mephisto anymore. The level of panic he shows trying to escape from the hex is...
he's like, get me out of here, I don't like it.
It's no good. That's very scary. But Michael, we had a little discussion on whether Kat Dennings, because Darcy has been sucked inside the hex now, is Kat Dennings going to reprise her role as Max from Two Broke Girls?
And Benjamin. up to last week, I would have said, no, that's ridiculous. There's no chance they'll ever do that. But everything that we said, no, that's ridiculous. There's no chance they'll ever do that, is exactly what has happened. So I am now willing to put €20, Ben. I will do a €20 bet with you that Darcy will be playing Max next week.
I feel like I've just lost €20. But yeah, fair enough. Because it would fit perfectly as well. It would be the 2010s. And we know that there's one more show jump.
Yeah.
We know that there's one left in the tank. And we've guessed it from the trailer. Spoilers again if you don't want that spoiled, but it's going to be a Modern Family riff. It's
going to be Modern Family, yeah.
But there's no reason that they can't go into a diner at some point and come through that kind of thing. I mean, it's very interesting.
Very interesting. Like, I mean, all the sword people who were in the thing got changed into other things, and they got changed into a circus clown and stuff. Very easy for her to just be changed into a waitress.
Yeah, no problem at all. Now, Michael, one of the things, and this is a bananas theory, right? This is a bananas theory, Michael, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Go on.
Two things that I really loved about this episode. Number one, the sheer creep factor.
The audacity.
So there's a moment where Vision is moving through the crowds. And it's slowly getting quieter and quieter in the town of Westview. And people are frozen because she obviously can't extend her power all of the time to animate these people through mind control. But the soundtrack never stops. The Malcolm in the Middle kind of jaunty soundtrack keeps going while Vision is moving through, frankly, a nightmare scenario.
Hellscape, a real hellscape.
Where everybody's frozen. And it's fascinating. The other thing that I loved is we find out that Monica Rambeau has been infected by the hex. She's been hexified in some way. Her blood work is changing. Michael, is this how they're segueing mutants into the MCU? Is this kind of the origin level of genetic mutation?
Possibly.
I'm
or
very curious.
Is the hex going to spread across the entire world, and then that gives them a nice little soft reboot of everything?
I mean, that's entirely possible, Michael, but further than that, let's say the hex does spread across the world and is then somehow fixed. We know that fixing the hex or removing someone from the hex doesn't remove the genetic alteration. So is that how some people end up genetically modified? I mean, possibly. Michael, could this be the little sprinklings of the mutants entering the universe?
Delicious, Ben. It's delicious. There's so much going on.
So much going on, Michael.
Did you like when the kids got their powers? I like that.
Michael, so entertaining.
Very good.
We were right off the bat, Michael. You called it weeks ago. Billy and Tommy were not just casual fan service. It's actually Billy and Tommy.
They're Billy and Tommy.
Yeah.
Benjamin, did you notice that when Evan Peters ran off, he said kick-ass, and then Scarlet Witch repeated kick-ass? Very good.
It's so meta.
Because Evan Peters was in Kick-Ass, Ben.
No, it's the other way around, Michael.
No, Evan Peters was also in Kick-Ass.
Oh, was he? Okay, that's fair. So Aaron Taylor-Johnson, for people that don't know, was the main star of Kick-Ass, the movie. And Michael,
Evan Peters
much going
was his friend
on.
in Kick-Ass. So much going on, Ben. It's crazy. It's mad shit. And in Kick-Ass, they both look the same. They've got the same hair and everything. It's bizarre. There's so much going on, Ben. And they knew, Ben. They knew us fans would notice that.
Yeah.
And all they did was throw in a little line of her repeating Kick-Ass.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane.
My favourite line in the whole thing, Ben, was the flashback, the Malcolm in the Middle-esque flashback to Sokovia.
Yeah.
When she said, that's not exactly how I remember that. And he just casually says, well, you've repressed a lot of the trauma.
But that's insane, isn't it? Like, and it's just so casual, and it's like, you are acting the mick.
You son of a bitch.
I mean, I'm here for it. I also like the non-judgmental part. You know, the part where he's like, yeah, no, it's fine though. I mean, why not? Why not make life better? Why not do that? My curiosity, Michael, we got that super creepy effect as well, where we got to see zombie Pietro.
Yes.
My question is, who brought Pietro back? Because I don't know,
Ben.
Wanda.
Was it Mephisto?
I mean, I still think your Mephisto theory probably holds a lot of water.
I don't.
But Michael, there has to be one more little event. We've only got 2 episodes left, Michael.
3, I think.
Is it 9 or 8?
9.
Oh, it's 9. So we've 3 episodes left. Loads left.
Yeah.
So we might get 2 more comedy jumps, Michael. Who's to say?
I don't think so, Ben. Rumor mill says 3 episodes of an hour each.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, and then this next episode will be the last sitcom episode, and it will see the complete breakdown of the world. And then the final 2 episodes will be like an MCU action movie.
Interesting. I can't wait to see Paul Bettany as Ty Burrell as Phil Dunphy. I think Paul Bettany's going to have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, right. Is that Ty Burrell's character name in Modern Family?
Yeah, it's Phil Dunphy.
Okay.
I think Vision is going to get a hard reset for the first 30 minutes of the episode, and then it'll slowly come back to him. Oh yeah. My wife, my wife, is kind of insane. Also, so nice to see the famous Scarlet Witch costume.
Yeah, and Quicksilver and Vision. It was great.
I'm a Sokovian fortune teller.
The questions, Ben. The chutzpah. The audacity
of this show.
Yeah, I think that brings an end to this segment, Ben. This weekly segment called The Audacity.
Ooh, one more nice little nod that I really enjoyed. Agnes Harkness wearing a witch's hat because she's a witch.
Wearing a little witch's hat because she's a witch. Or is she, or isn't she?
Or I don't think she isn't. Well, who's to say, Michael? 3 more episodes. Anyway,
Ben,
that brings our weekly episode, The Audacity.
The Audacity.
To a close.
Ben, it shares so much with that pitch we did for Moon Knight years ago.
In the reality warping kind of...
In the existing in 4 or 5 different styles of television.
Yeah, so in the sense that they stole our idea from our podcast and went...
No, I don't think so, Ben. I don't think so. I don't think they even listened to it. But yeah, it's even more audacious, Ben, because when we did the Moon Knight one, we had the 4 different genres of TV kind of interspersing and mixing around. But this, they just did sitcoms, Ben. The first 3 episodes were just sitcoms. Remember, It was bad.
Mad.
Anyway, moving on, Ben. What are we talking about this week?
Well, Michael, this week we're touching on that age-old thing, which will eventually happen to both of us, Michael. One of us will turn away from this and betray the other.
Oh, good.
In the topic of the week, which is friends become enemies.
Oh, are you talking about the podcast Words That Burn, Ben?
Words That Burn. Whereupon I take off on my career as a world-famous
poem guy.
World-famous poem guy.
Poem guy. He's always talking about poems.
Always talking about poems. That's all he does. He doesn't write them or do anything.
www.words.burnpodcast.com.
Yeah, nice. So that's going to be our topic for the week, Michael. And it got us thinking, about all the times that our hero was betrayed or let down.
Yeah, all right.
By someone they counted as a chum.
Oh, classic.
Someone they counted as a chum. So, would you like to start, Michael?
Okay, I'll start, Ben, because I think we can start with something very relevant to the start of this week's podcast, which was the character of Cordelia.
Yes, Charisma Carpenter.
Now, Ben, a lot of people would say that Cordelia got done dirty.
She got done dirty, Michael.
She got done very dirty, Ben, because she... was one of the most popular supporting characters in Buffy.
Yes.
And she started as a vapid and mean cheerleader.
Also, yes.
Who ended up showing a surprising amount of bravery and realism and kind of joined the Buffy squad, the Scooby Gang, Ben.
Michael, you'll forgive my ignorance here because I've never understood that transition of character. How did that come about?
Mostly happenstance, Ben. She happened to get caught up in a couple of adventures with them.
Okay.
And then became the kind of voice of reason, the one sitting at the table who disagreed with Buffy's plan and said it was going to get them all killed.
Okay.
I mean, realistically, there were a few episodes where it didn't make sense for her to be involved.
Okay.
But she just kind of showed up anyway. But
nice.
She had one of the best arcs in the whole Buffyverse, Ben, because then she went off to LA to try and become an actress, which was out of character for her. But, when characters change shows, they sometimes also change motivations.
Yes, it's important, Michael.
And she went off to try and become a famous actress, Ben, and she fell in with Angel.
Oh, yeah.
And she went from a vapid, self-centered teenage cheerleader who was into fashion and beauty and was mean, and she, in a short 4 years, became a strong, confident 30-year-old woman.
Nice.
Who fought the good fight on the side of good and was very noble and self-sacrificing and was probably the best character on the show for a good while.
Good.
Then,
we'd love
Ben,
to see it.
We'd love to see it. It's character development, Ben. It's progress. Angel, one of the strongest things about the show Angel was its development of 3 fairly one-note characters from Buffy.
Okay.
Angel, who was just a handsome, brooding, jerky man.
Irishman, apparently.
Yeah, allegedly. Cordelia, who was bimbo and a coward and self-serving. And Wesley, who was a bumbling, incompetent, how Giles could have gone wrong example.
Okay.
And it turned all three of them into strong, developed, interesting characters.
That's nice.
Yeah, but then Charisma Carpenter made the mistake of getting on the wrong side of Joss Whedon.
Dun, dun, dun.
And she decided she wanted to have a family and get pregnant and live her own life to some degree.
And that's okay.
And you're not allowed to do that in Hollywood, Ben.
No, because you have to make money for the show, Michael.
Yeah, so she was, I think, pregnant, Ben. So they decided to write her pregnancy and weight gain and needing of time off into the show.
Okay, fair.
So Cordelia ascended to a higher being, Ben. Because she committed so many acts of pure good, she was kind of chosen as the representation of humanity on the higher plane.
Stretch, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stretch. But, Ben, it turned out to be a trick.
Oh, no.
And it was a trick by one of the powers that be, Ben.
Yeah.
And one of the powers that be that was evil. And it hitched.
Hang on, you have to let me have my dramatic response.
Oh, sorry, Ben, sorry. It hitchhiked back to Earth in Cordelia's body. And mind controlled her, Ben. So we thought it was Cordelia for season 4, but it actually wasn't. It was Jasmine.
Oh.
The evil, nameless powers that be. So it turns out that everything creepy and horrible that Cordelia did that basically assassinated her character development of the previous 8 years was because she was possessed by an evil spirit from the higher planes.
That sounds like terrible writing.
Yes, it was very bad writing, Ben. She began an affair with Angel's son, who she was kind of a mother to in season 3. And a betrayal of Angel, who she never actually really solidified their romance. That was always kind of developing. And that whole plot was just shut down and replaced with her having a creepy affair with a 17-year-old, getting pregnant, giving birth to herself.
What?
And then, yeah. So the evil being that possessed her wanted to have sex with Connor, who was born from 2 vampires.
Okay.
And then she seduces him. Cordelia has sex with him. Okay. She becomes pregnant. The pregnancy develops in like a couple of hours. Notably, Ben, this was the second time that Charisma Carpenter was pregnant in Angel. She was always getting impregnated with gross stuff in Angel. And, the baby is born.
Okay. And
the baby that's born is the thing that parasited into her. Played by a friend of Joss Whedon, Gina Torres.
Oh, Gina Torres.
Yeah, from Out of Firefly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the big bad of season 4 essentially was Cordelia until she gave birth to the thing that was possessing her in an awful character assassination. But don't worry, Ben. Okay. Cordelia then falls into a coma.
Oh.
Yeah, and is just kept off screen for the remainder of the season.
Oh, she's fridged. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But then, Ben, don't worry. She comes back for a kind of redemption episode and it's almost okay.
Almost
okay.
Just
but then
barely.
She dies off screen of a coma that she never wakes up from.
Okay, well that's
gross and horrible.
Awful, Michael.
It's awful. It's one of the biggest character assassinations. It's a good example of the trope of friends becoming enemies done very badly.
Done soups badly.
Yeah.
Soups badly.
An off-screen impregnation with an evil spirit that causes her to betray her friends and family and become awful.
It's no good.
Yeah, no good. Very bad example.
Good.
Very bad example.
Michael, this came to me out of the blue when I was but a young lad, Michael.
Yes,
last year, when I was 12, I watched many movies, especially around the Christmas time and things like that. And
at Christmas,
one of the movies that I watched was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now I love me some Indiana Jones. Is it problematic in the modern era? Are too many women slapped around on occasion or treated a bit roughly? Yeah, sure. But look, it's nostalgia. We're going to have to go with it.
Sometimes you like to think back to the bad old times, Ben, and you really enjoy it.
You really enjoy it. It ain't so bad. But anyway, one of the greatest betrayals to my little 10-year-old, 11-year-old heart
Yes.
was the character of Dr. Elsa Schneider. Okay?
Right. Never heard of her.
You definitely have. But anyway, Dr.
This
Elsa
is from
Schneider,
Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Last Crusade.
Yes, the Temple of the Last Crusade, Part 2 arc.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is Indiana Jones' father goes missing, Sean Connery. Yes.
Henry Jr.
He goes
Henry
missing.
Sr.?
Henry Sr. Henry Sr.
Yeah.
And he goes missing. And what happens is Indiana tracks down his old assistant, his working buddy, and that's Dr. Elsa Schneider. And Michael, let me tell you. What a
Is she
woman.
a very sexy lady, Ben?
She's a very sexy lady. Tall, blonde, elegant, super intelligent.
Oh.
Okay? She's a match for Indy. She enjoys a bit of research. She enjoys a bit of tracking down the archaeological mysteries. And it's perfection, Michael.
Does she like poems, Ben?
I'd say she probably loves a poem, Michael.
Yeah. Has she ever listened to the podcast Words That Burn podcast?
If it had been around back then, she probably would have listened.
It's available on Spotify.
To the eminent podcast Words That Burn, a podcast about poetry.
Yeah.
She probably would have listened to that. But Michael, right in the climax of the scene, right?
Yeah.
Coming up to the end of it. Look, Indiana Jones is in a situation. There are some Nazis. It's not fucking great.
No.
Okay.
Is Gina Carano there?
But Gina Carano's. That was very good.
Just pointing out that they're bad.
But Michael, the ultimate kick in the teeth
is
that it turns out that Dr. Elsa Schneider is working with the Nazis the whole time.
I knew it!
So they've made love. They've bonded over a love of old things.
Yeah.
Including Henry Sr., because he also slept with Elsa Schneider. That's a very quick throwaway joke in Indiana Jones 3 in The Last Crusade. And he says, how'd you know she was a Nazi? And Sean Connery turns around and says, she talks in her sleep. And then Indiana Jones is like, wait, what? How do you know she talks in her... Michael, very throwaway joke, very strange.
Very 80s.
Very 80s. So anyway, that for me, Michael, was like a mind-blowing moment. It's like, no, she's a good character, though. And I kept saying to myself, she has to come back to the side of good. She has to. She never does, Michael. She never does. And my poor little mind was just like, no!
She's a sexy lady.
But she's a sexy lady.
They're always good.
Pretty women are always good.
Except Gina Carano.
Except Gina Carano. Apparently just a bit stupid. A bit dumb.
Benjamin. So judging by the conversation we've just had there, you have never seen a James Bond film.
I have also seen several James Bond films where that's pretty much the trope. They could probably rename most of those movies to James Bond and the False Ally.
Yeah, James Bond and watch out for one of the two sexy ladies. One of them is going to be evil, one of them is going to die.
Yeah, James Bond and the Shell Game. Which one is the trustworthy ally under? And yeah, that's pretty much the trope, Michael. But I remember I had another formative experience, Michael, with GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, yes, I've played it on the N64.
On the N64, very, very famously. And this is probably the thing that pigeonholed Sean Bean for the rest of his career. But basically, in GoldenEye, our opening scene is about two agents and they have a strong bond. And poor James Bond watches him die. And it's a huge tragedy for James Bond because his old pal Sean Bean, who's conveniently never mentioned in another movie, up to that, but they're firm friends, dies in an explosion, and it's kind of game over. But then, Michael, at the end of the movie, dun dun dun,
yes,
it was Alec Trevelyan all along.
Yeah, he came and he took all the corn, or brought the corn. I'm not sure. In fairness,
there wasn't an Irish person that watched that movie and went, he's a prick. Because we heard that second name and went, nah, he's dodgy.
He's going to be no use.
He's going to be no use. But that kind of started Sean Bean's long career at this point of being the guy that kind of lets everybody down. We had Boromir.
Yeah.
We had, I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but it happens a lot where Sean Bean is like, you thought I was a goodie, but I'm a baddie. Oh, Ronan.
I'm one of the baddies.
Also in Ronan. He's just a bit of a cad.
Ronan, the assassin film?
The assassin film with Robert De Niro.
Benjamin, speaking of kind of like super soldiers who have a best friend who is with them in their early adventures and then dies in an explosion and comes back many years later.
Smooth.
Have you ever seen... Thank you very much. Have you ever seen the film Captain America, the Winter Soldier?
The Civil Soldier.
Captain America, the Civil Service. Sorry, I don't think I'm going to be able to sign that up for you there. I'll have to look up, I'll call one of my supervisors there and about 8 weeks.
Yeah, we should get back to you in about 6 to 8 weeks. It's probably going to be 8.
Yeah,
I won't lie to you.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you. So anyway, Steve.
That joke was no use, Ben. I'm going to edit that joke out. That joke was no use whatsoever. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
Stays in.
It's gone from the podcast. It went nowhere.
It stays in.
Unlike the movie Captain America: The Civil War.
Steve Rogers, Michael, has a deep, dark secret in his shining military past.
What is it?
And that's that he left a goddamn soldier behind.
You never leave a man behind, Ben.
It was the best damn man he knew.
There's only one situation where you leave a man behind, and that's if that man posts a tweet comparing something to Nazis.
In which case, god damn it, get the hell out of here.
Leave that man behind as quickly as you can.
I hope you fall off a precariously placed train line at high speed.
Bad rail design. Very dangerous.
Very dangerous. Not the best engineering decision. Before I do a frankly offensive German accent, was that scene set in Germany?
I think it was, yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we're going to build the train track right at the side of the cliff.
Bridge.
With no supports. So, it's going to be very safe. Don't the trains move at a high speed? Yeah, but it's no problem. Don't worry about it.
He fell in the water, Ben, and he got captured by Nazis. Benjamin, did you feel he got captured by Nazis and then handed over to Hydra, I think? Nazis were Hydra. I forgot about that.
Nazis were Hydra, and then they kind of jumped around a little bit. And for some reason, he ended up with the Ruskies.
Yeah, with the Russians. But still also Hydra, I think.
Hydra Russians.
Yeah, very confusing. Yeah, I mean, they're very different political systems, but that doesn't matter, Ben.
But Hydra's the uniting fascist force, Michael.
Yeah. But I mean, the socialist communists weren't fascists. But look, that doesn't matter, Ben. Hydra is with the baddies. Whoever the baddies may be they the Nazis, be they the communists, be they Gina Carano, you know that Hydra will be there in bed with them. Benjamin, so, what was I saying? Did you feel that the kind of spin and excitement and twist of Bucky being Captain America's best friend was lessened by how bloody obvious it all was?
See, I'm not sure, Michael, if this is a classic. It was spoiled for us because we've read the comics, or other people might not have gotten it as quickly. I mean, I think it was fairly obvious, Michael, that it was Sebastian Stan.
Yes, because it kept saying Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so I think we probably lost that one. But I don't think it took away from it. I enjoyed watching Steve Rogers try to be like, God damn it, Buck, come back to me. I think the tension was still there. I think it's a really good example of how to do that well. Like, I think it's fair to say that Captain America the Winter Soldier is one of the best MCU films.
If not the best, Ben.
If not the best. It's just very, very good. It also introduces to the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
And look what they went on and did, huh?
They did some good work.
They do some damn fine work. But yeah.
To be honest, Ben, I was throwing you a bit of a softball there because I don't agree with what I said there. I actually think it's not really a twist. It's blindingly obvious to us, and it's only really a twist to Captain America himself when he finds out.
Yeah, because he was like, well, Buck's dead.
Bucky's dead. That's not Bucky. Did you say Bucky? Don't say Bucky to me. I'll freeze up and become useless.
Because I love my Bucky.
He does. He definitely loves him, Ben. So there's an extra kind of bromance moment there where
he loves him
can't hurt him.
He loves him up until the point where he can travel back in time and be with a woman. And then he's like, oh, fuck you, like, Buck.
Fuck you, Bucky. I'm out. Did you ever see Peggy Carter from the 40s?
He loves him and commits to him and says, look, I'm gonna find you a new life the way I found a new life in this 21st century. And then the second is like, oh, wait. Peggy Carter. Buck, you're on your own. You're on your own.
From from what I remember, she was very attractive. I mean, I only knew her for about a week.
A week and a half at best.
Num.
But I'm heading back. And it's like, oh, yeah, you know, this great new life I've kind of built myself in the 21st century? Boy, I sure do miss the 40s.
Bucky should have been like, well, maybe that'll be a plot point in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Ben, which had a new trailer this week that we forgot to talk about.
We never talked about, Michael. That also occurred to me while we were discussing this. Sharon Jones is back.
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter's back. Sharon Jones is not back, sadly passed away in 2016. But Sharon Carter is back.
What's she doing? Benjamin, I have one last, we're running low on time, so I have one last Friends Become Enemies, Ben. Do you remember the awful early 2000s Canadian-American science fiction collaboration Andromeda starring real fucking bag of shit, Kevin Sorbo?
Kevin Sorbo.
Speaking of tweets.
Oh, there's a fucking donkey and a half.
He's a real fucking bag of plums. He's Gina Carano turned up to 11.
Yeah, he's a fucking tool.
How is he not cancelled? I suppose he cancelled himself by being shit at acting.
All he does is Christian movies now.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Lucy Lawless making fun of him on Twitter?
Oh, it's great.
She's brilliant. Lucy Lawless, she's an icon. Anyway,
Ben.
Ben.
He maintains that Hercules is somehow better than Xena Warrior Princess.
That's like all the mad shit that he says, Ben. That's what truly proves that he's disconnected with reality. What was I saying? Anyway.
Andromeda, starring
Andromeda,
Nazi
yes.
Kevin
So,
Sorbo.
he's a real bag of shit. But in that, Ben, it had a real 90s motley crew, like that dream text I sent you the other day.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it? Check that out on the Instagram, ladies and gentlemen.
So they had Dylan Harper, the sexy captain, and they had Becca Valentine, the scrappy mercenary sexy lady captain, and they had Romy, the cool and calculating and emotionless android, and they had Seamus Harper, the scrappy Irish engineer, and
was
they
he actually
had
from Ireland?
Yeah. He might have been from Boston, but his name is Seamus Harper, and they had Rev Bem, the alien.
Oh yeah, nice.
Kind of the Zen-like alien who struggled with his inner nature. And they had, who I always thought at the time was the most interesting character, they had Tyr Anasazi.
Who is?
He's a Nietzschean.
Ooh.
And in the world of Andromeda, Ben, Nietzscheans are genetically engineered superhumans who became a split off from humanity and developed their own society with their own morals based on Nietzsche.
That's interesting.
And it's a somewhat interesting concept, Ben. And the very interesting thing about Tyr was very much the token tough guy alien character from that era.
Okay.
I'll see your Teal'c from Stargate SG-1.
Who I just found out Michael voices Kratos in God of War.
Yeah, Christopher Judge, he's great. I'll see your Christopher Judge as Teal'c, and I'll raise you what was the hell was his name? It was in my head until you... No, Worf. Yeah, I mean, they're all Worf. They're all essentially Worf. There's, what's his name? What's that guy's name? Yeah, that guy. Not Macho Man Randy Savage. Aquaman.
Aquaman.
What's Aquaman's real name?
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa in Stargate Atlantis. Where he played, I've forgotten his name. It was in my head 2 seconds ago.
He played Teal'c.
No, that was Christopher Judge, you son of a bitch.
No. Jason Momoa played Teal'c in Stargate Atlantis.
But Jason Momoa played a very similar character as well. A kind of a character with a different set of morals, and he was the tough guy. And you know, he's that character.
Yeah, he's what's the guy from Firefly?
Jane,
yeah.
Yeah, that character. But imagine if Jane came from a different society.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's the difference about Jane. Jane is very much
human,
one of them. Yeah, but these are all something else. Not necessarily not human, but just some different culture of human.
In the case of Christopher Judge, a human with eyeshadow.
Yes, and a funny thing on his head. But Tyr, the interesting thing about Tyr, Ben, was that Tyr was always in it for himself.
Okay.
And he was very upfront about it, that, like, he's here because it just so happens that what's good for the Andromeda is good for Tyr.
Okay, fair.
And if ever a situation comes up where what's good for the Andromeda isn't good for Tyr, then they'll have a problem.
Okay.
And amazingly, of all of these kind of genre of shows that introduce a character like that, they stuck to their guns. And unlike almost every other character like that, unlike almost every other tough guy outsider character, he never fully integrated into the crew. And his story ends with him betraying them and in a firefight, and they kill him.
Wow.
In season 4.
Didn't see that coming.
No. And it always stuck out to me as one of the most surprising friends becoming enemies and dying, because it wasn't temporary, it wasn't some sort of madness, it wasn't something that they could come back from, and it wasn't a sudden change in his character.
Yeah, it was just a dickhead decision.
Well, he was a dick, and we always knew he was a dick, and he was always going to be a baddie, and then he was a baddie, and they killed him.
Nice.
Spectacular. Terrible
Nice.
show. Terrible show.
Look,
No good.
I'd say Kevin Sorbo's turn to Nazism is probably more shocking than that plotline.
Now you're comparing people to Nazis. You want to be careful with that, Ben. You might get cancelled.
Around.
You
Join us
might
next
get
week
cancelled.
on Michael's Weekly Witch Hunt.
It's Michael and Nobody's podcast.
I just got cancelled and dropped from my talent agency show.
I got Kim Cattrall on here.
All right. Is that it for this week then?
I think that's it, Ben. I think that's it.
Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, join us next week where we'll be joined by a very lovely guest.
Oh, really? Is that next week?
21st. Yep. Dr. Stephen J. Cadwell will be joining us to talk about all things shapeshifter. So what we want from you, ladies and gentlemen, is all your favourite shapeshifters from movies, TVs, comics, wherever you have a bloody shapeshifter, myths,
wherever
legends,
they are.
whatever you like.
Yeah.
Whatever you like. Give us a shout, because we'll be talking all about them next week with an eminent scholar. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to send us those suggestions, you can get in touch in the following places. We're on the interwebs at www.seomrebeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.com.
It means oh, fucking hell. It means tiny room in Irish.
Don't you step over my bloody spelling. It's very important.
It hasn't been updated in months, Ben. Someone should fix it. Me, I guess?
You're the website guy. I'm the Instagram guy.
Oh,
That's
I better
the
fix
rule.
it then.
You can also find us on the more frequently updated Instagram, Sean Rebeag, SEOMRABEAG.
It still kind of means tiny room in Irish.
Yep. Or you can just, I don't know, shout outside your house and see if we can hear
Email, Ben. Email.
Yeah, you can email us at Michaelandbenjaminspodcast@gmail.com.
We love getting an email.
Not as consistent as the rest of our branding, but still, it's there.
We love getting it. We love getting it.
We love getting it. So do send us an email. That's it from us this week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm off to deactivate my Twitter account, because apparently it's just getting people into trouble these days. Bye.
Just cancel that Twitter. Just get off it. It's no use. It's no good for you.
No use.
It's no use. Get off there. Get on Bumble.